Hey, good morning. I'm Samantha, and I'm so glad you've landed here for our 30-minute gentle flow. I'm going to do my best to offer both the standing postures as well as the seated postures. But throughout this 30 minutes, as hopefully always in your yoga practice, please feel free to take what serves you best. Maybe you're looking to relax and stay seated the entire time. Maybe you look for a challenge and then decide to back off. So both are great options. For those of you joining live today, happy Monday morning. And it is also our Remembrance Day for Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So our postures today are going to work on back bends, which are also called heart openers, in the sense of being loving and open, while also balancing lower body strength so that we can be open and loving through our strength, as has been modeled for us by Dr. MLK. These are also really great postures for any day of the year because we spend so much time seated and hunched over, potentially typing, and then also potentially not working the lower body throughout our workday. So with that, please feel free to come into a comfortable seat for you. Perhaps a comfortable seat is a little bit more active this morning, stacking one vertebra pillow on top of the next. I'm about midway through my chair so that I'm engaging in the core rather than leaning back, but your choice. Maybe roll the ears up towards the shoulders, down and back. Hands can be on the thighs, perhaps palms down or perhaps palms up. This gesture may mean grounding and rooting if the palms are down, and open and receptive if the palms are up. So just do what feels good for you. Breathing in here, exhaling, rooting into the seat or the floor beneath you. We'll start today's practice with our upper body, move into our peak pose, and then come into our breathing exercise. But to start, feel free to set an intention for yourself. If you'd like, make it present and positive. So I am courageous. I speak my truth. Something that serves you today that you'd like to cultivate through this practice so you can take it off the mat and back into your community. Lifting all 10 toes, separate the toes and then root the toes back into the earth. And then we'll leave the lower body as is and start to focus on the upper body. Hands can be, again, wherever feels comfortable for you. And we'll bring the shoulders drastically up towards the ears, towards the back of the room, and then down the back. We'll do that 3 more times. So rotate the shoulders up towards the ears, towards the back of the room, and then down the back. Twice more, lift up, perhaps trying to match your breath with the cycle of the shoulders. So inhaling up and exhaling down. We'll do this 3 more times the other way. So moving the shoulders back, up, around, and down. Just noticing if you have more range of motion in one direction compared to the other. Maybe one feels juicier than the other, and then letting that judgment go and just being in the movement. Final time, back, up, around, and down. From here, we'll bring the right shoulder towards the right ear, lengthening along the left side of the body. Perhaps the nose and the chin and the gaze are forward, trying to keep both sides of the neck really long for 2 deep breath cycles. Expanding in the rib cage. Exhale, settling the body. Maybe finding that you're coming more into the present moment just by greeting the breath. And next exhale, let your chin trace your collarbone, coming over onto the other side. So perhaps now left ear is towards the left chin. And again, the nose and the gaze can be forward, finding length on both sides of the body. Deep breath in. Shoulders down and back. Once more, just like this. Deep breath in. Long breath out. Deep breath in, and on your exhale, trace your collarbone back over to the other side. We find the position and posture we've already done with the nose and the gaze forward. Stay here, one deep breath cycle, bringing those shoulders down and back. And then staying here, or if you like, gaze towards your right shoulder and see what that changes in your neck, back, and anywhere else you might feel it. If you'd like, stay here or bring your nose and your gaze towards the sky or the ceiling. See what that changes in your range of motion or awareness in the body. Bring the nose and the gaze back towards center, chin drops towards the chest, and then this time we'll lift the head and neck and just pause and see how the right side feels compared to the left. Any echo of the stretch, and breathe. And exhale, bring it over to the other side. So left ear towards left shoulder, gazes forward, one deep breath cycle. And then nose and gaze towards the shoulder. What does that change for you? Coming back through center, and then gaze and nose towards the sky. Only as much as feels good for you today. So don't overstretch, just be in the posture. And then exhaling through center, chin drops to the chest. And then take what feels organic for you. Maybe you want to take a couple of those half circles to one side and the other. Or maybe you're really craving a full circle, lifting up, down, and around. Whatever you choose to do, try to balance whatever you do in one direction to the other, and to keep the breath flowing. But also, if you do 3 rotations counterclockwise and only 2 clockwise, it's no big deal. Meant to be for this morning or this evening, whenever you're connecting. And then we'll settle back on center whenever you're ready. And we'll inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Exhale, cactus the arms. So we're pulling the shoulders down, or the elbows down, coming through the goalpost and lifting the sternum and the chest. Press the feet into the earth. So this is our first heart opener, back bend. You may feel this across the chest. Active through the fingertips, really squeezing the elbows toward each other. They might not get there today, but you're bringing them toward each other. We'll find a moving meditation. So we'll inhale, reach for something greater than ourselves. And exhale, pull in that positive energy, squeezing the elbows, squeezing the shoulder blades, lifting the sternum, lifting the chest. Twice more just like this without my distracting breath or words. Coming back to neutral. So staying right here with those cactus arms, if that feels good for you, or I'll offer a next stop where you'll wrap your left arm under your right, stacking your elbows, bringing the elbows away from the nose, finding expansion across the back, the upper back. Staying here, or seeing if it feels comfortable or natural enough to bring the back of palms together or front of palms together. So we're all getting the same upper back stretch and shoulder lengthening. You can be in the cactus, stacked elbows, back of palms, or front of palms. Bring the elbows away from the nose wherever you are. Deep breath in. Exhale, bring the elbows in line with the shoulders as you can. And then we'll find a moving meditation, lifting the gaze, lifting the fingertips, and then exhale, squeezing the elbows in towards the chest or the belly. This movement can be very small, still opening and bringing blood flow and a lot more range of motion in the shoulders, or you can be rather expressive and lift the chest and really find the back bend and then really find the crunch in. Maybe exploring what both of those feel like for you today. We're here a couple more breaths. Maybe closing the eyes, coming more internal to you and to your practice. And then returning back to center, eyes opened or closed as it feels good for you. Release the bind. Inhale, lift the arms up, and exhale, cactus the arms one more time. Again, the cactus option is an option for the next couple breaths, or you can wrap your right arm under your left, restack either stacked elbows or back of palms or front of palms. Check in here, really root the lower body, really replant the feet, settle. One breath cycle right here, maybe lining the elbows up with the shoulders. And then start to flow as it suits you, perhaps closing the eyes, making this movement as big or as little as your shoulders and breath need today. Breathing into the stretch. Listening to what your body needs. Last time, wherever you are, coming back on center, releasing the bind, lifting the arms up, length through the armpits, and just for good measure, we'll take a twist. Left hand to the outside of the right thigh or knee. If you're seated in a chair, feel free to walk your hands up to the back of the chair. If you're not seated in a chair, it's totally fine, same posture, just rotating over your right shoulder. Trying to think about the twist happening from the navel up. So keep those hips squared and your sits bones rooting down, the feet pressing into the earth. On every inhale, find length in the spine, and on every exhale, find ease in the twist. One final breath cycle, take it to your deepest expression, hold and twist. Release the hand from the thigh without flinging. Be intentional with the mid-body as we come back on center, and then exhale, hands down to the thighs. And just check in on how the left side and the right side feel after that level of engagement. Sweep the arms back up overhead, and we'll take it to the other side. For me, that's right hand to outside of left thigh, lengthening and then twisting. Again, the back of the chair may be an assist here as you can bind around the chair, squaring the hips towards the front of the room, lengthening the spine, crown of the head towards the ceiling or the sky, and then twist deeply towards your left shoulder. Check in where your breath is, where your mind wanders, and come back to the inhale for length and the exhale for twist. Thinking about the twist as a surrender of your musculature, wrapping around your bones. Release the bind around the chair or the thigh. Inhale, lift the arms up overhead. And exhale, plant the hands and just settle here. Noticing what might feel different in the shoulders, the neck, the torso. And now we'll start to activate the lower body. So step one in your chair pose is to simply, or not simply, but actively press your feet into the ground. And you're pressing so hard that you feel your quadriceps or the front of your thighs engage, perhaps even your glutes engaged, and you feel like you lifted a centimeter up off the chair. Now try relaxing that and just see what happens with the lower body. So that's a lower body's not active. And then if you like, start to press and activate. Feel the muscles wrap around the bones. This is step one. This is still chair pose, and sweep the arms up overhead. Slight lift of the sternum, staying here, or if you like, press into your feet so much that you come up out of the chair. And you can leave the chair behind you, or you can completely step away from your chair, whatever serves you. So you can be lifted almost as if you're standing with a slight bend in the knees, or you can be hovering over the chair, lifting the chest, or stay seated, press the feet into the earth, lift the chest, lift the gaze, chair pose. We're here 2 more breaths. Lots of work here. Press the hips back, lift the chest up, active through the fingertips. This is your lower body activation. Be present for the movement. 1 more breath cycle, sink the hips even lower, press the feet even harder. Exhale, return to standing or just release that activation in the feet. From here, if you're standing, step back with the right foot. We're coming into warrior one. So I'll demonstrate from seated first, but for those standing, chair pose, step back right foot, both hips towards the front of the room, back heel down, generous bend in the front knee. You've found warrior one. For those in the chair, from your chair pose, step your back leg as far back as feels good for you, hips coming towards the front of the room, warrior one. Option to stay right here in warrior one, or find that eagle wrap we did from our seated position. Really press the back knife edge of the foot into the earth, activate the low body, and then option for a moving meditation in your eagle wrap warrior one. Inhale, lift the fingers, lift the chest, lift the gaze, and then exhale, squeezing it in. Option for that to be small, or for your shoulder to come all the way on the inside of your bent front knee. So the movement can be big or small, whatever's calling to you today. Focusing on the activation of the low body. Twice more just like this. Take it to the expression that serves you. Maybe that's modifying, or maybe that's amplifying. Coming back on center, unwinding the arms, lift the arms up overhead. And for those standing, generous bend in the front knee and step the back knee forward, and everybody seated can also do that. So I realize I'm not mirroring you anymore, but this time we're gonna step back left foot. So from your chair pose, step the left foot back. For those standing, just come to the edge of your chair. Generous bend in the front knee. For those standing, you perhaps can grab towards the left hip and square the hips towards the front of the room. Lift the chest, lift the gaze. You can see that this is a slight back bend right here in your warrior one. Strong, proud. Press into the feet just as we did in our chair pose. Option to stay right here, or option to find that eagle wrap 1 more time. So again, stacked elbows, back of palms or front of palms. Staying here, pressing into the ground, or finding the moving meditation. Inhale, lift up, and exhale, fold in. Perhaps this is a slight movement and the elbows are only moving an inch or 2 in the range of motion, or perhaps you're being more dramatic by lifting the shoulders up and the elbows up, and then dropping the shoulders to the inside of the knee. Deep breath in and out. Keep the breath flowing. Hopefully you're feeling your heart rate increase, your lungs active inside the body, returning to neutral, unwind. We're coming to the peak of the heated work. So for those of you standing, giant step to the top of the mat, come back into chair pose. For those seated, stay here holding the chair pose, pressing the feet into the earth. For those standing, I'll invite you to come through your chair pose. We're going towards Navasana. So lower, lower, lower the hips all the way down. Find the flexion in the ankles and then lift the legs. So I'm going to cue through multiple options, but step one for your Navasana would just be lifting the chest. Toes can be on the earth. If you like, you can lift the toes in line with the knees. You can release the hands or you can straighten the legs. So do what serves you. For those in the chair, keep pressing into your chair pose and then release your feet. Option to grab onto your sturdy chair and lift one knee up in towards the chest. Everybody's breathing, no matter what variation of the posture we're doing. So keep holding your boat if you're on the ground and active through the core, through the thigh, through the ankle if you're seated. If you're seated, we'll switch sides, or option to have both knees up at the same time. So as you can see, there's lots of steps along the way, but the low belly is active and lifted here. 2 more breaths just like this. Okay, final push, final challenge. If you're seated, try to lift both knees into the chest. If you're in your Navasana, perhaps lengthening the leg. If you're in the Navasana on the ground, lengthening the toes towards the sky, lift the chest, maybe smile. We're doing work. Exhale, release, let it all go. Now that we're potentially officially warm, we're going to come back through our chair pose. So for those in the Navasana posture, you can just cross your ankles, fold forward and lift up, or you can rock forward and see if you can come back through chair without the assistance of a wall or multiple steps. All are great ways to get there. We're headed towards eagle. So if that's in your practice and you want to go there, go straight there, but I'm going to demonstrate each stop along the way. So for those seated, press into your left foot, lift your right knee up into the chest, just as we did, and then cross the ankles. Perhaps the ankle is next to the shin, or perhaps you're wrapping the foot around the shin. The arms are coming, or around the calf. The arms are coming back into eagle arms. So if you're in your chair, hold here, squeeze here. If you're in that standing position, shift the weight over onto the left side, lift the right knee up into the chest, and then cross. Perhaps you find that a kickstand will serve you. Maybe you lift the leg up and bind the foot behind the calf, and then find your eagle arm wrap. We're at our peak pose. Be as intentional as you want and as expressive as you need. Wherever you are, release the binds. So release the arms, release the feet, and then take it to the other side. So whatever side is opposite for you, if you're standing, perhaps it's wrapping the left leg around the right leg and then taking the eagle arms. And if you're seated, pressing into the right leg, lift the left leg up towards you, cross the legs, step one. Perhaps you're staying here today, or perhaps you're finding the bind or the double bind. Breathing here, holding here, trying to even out, same duration on each side. Deep breath in. Exhale, sink lower, squeeze harder. Everyone releases all of the work. If you're standing, just unwind, lift the chest, and then exhale, flat back, forward fold. If you're seated, just keep the feet planted and let the upper body cascade over the lower body. Breathe. Use this as an opportunity to reset, fold into yourself. Let go of the work. Perhaps part the lips and sigh out of the mouth. Flat back or rounded back, your choice. Slowly rise up, lift up, reset. If you're standing, you've arrived in a standing Tadasana. And if you're seated, you've arrived in your seated Tadasana or mountain pose. Hands can again return to the thighs or at heart center. If you're standing, feel free to join us back in a seated posture, perhaps by forward fold, plant the hands, come through. So if you're standing, you could forward fold, plant the hands, step back with one knee and then the other, press the hips back, and now you've arrived in seated, or any other transition that gets you back into a comfortable seated position for you. So we're going to stack one vertebra pillow on top of the next, just as we had done at the beginning of our practice. Maybe legs are crossed, maybe you're seated on your heels, or maybe you're still in your chair. Hands can come back to the thighs, rolling those shoulders up, down, and back, lifting through the low belly, expanding through the heart space. And if it's comfortable for you, perhaps closing your eyes or gazing down towards the nose or about 3 feet in front of you, and just settle. Notice what part of your body is perhaps touching the ground or the earth. Notice the clothes on your skin, the temperature. The beating of your heart. The breath flowing within you and out of you into the world. Staying here, just being intentional, feeling your breath in and out. If you'd like, we'll find equal part breathing. The challenge for this breathing practice is to try to match the count of your inhale with the count of your exhale. It's still fluid, so you don't have to stop the breath along the way, but trying to match an inhale and an exhale. I'll offer a count. Please feel free to ignore me and go more internally, but I'll count for 4 in and 4 out. Preparing now, inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Twice more on your own breath count. On your final exhale, perhaps parting the lips, sighing out of the mouth. Returning to your intention. If you're seated, perhaps staying seated. If you are in a chair, perhaps forward folding will serve you, or perhaps coming onto the ground will be more of service. We'll take a brief Shavasana. This is our final resting posture. So you can shift your hips over if you're seated on your heels and just extend the legs out, palms up towards the sky, chin tucked towards the chest, and you can relax and release here. If you'd like to have your legs lifted, you can place them on the back of your chair and release here. I recommend trying to inhale and exhale for 6 breaths in this final resting posture. Perhaps staying here longer than we will offer today. Feel free to stay in your rested Shavasana, or perhaps rolling over onto one side or the other. I'll close just to be respectful of the time, being 30 minutes of our gentle flow, but perhaps you can stay right where you are, embracing love and compassion from a place of strength and rootedness. Thank you for being here today, sharing your energy. It was an honor to teach. Have a wonderful day.